Whoa, I skipped last week, but I'm really, really excited for this card, and I don't want to keep consistently skipping cards. With that being said, though, this is being recorded in the middle of the night because I'm currently switching to whatever my schedule. But I'm going to be reacting or giving my predictions and breakdown for UFC 314 in Miami, Volkanovski versus Diego Lopes. Skipping the early prelims because I didn't do any research for this card and I just want to flex my big brain how much I know off the top. So first fight, starting with Darren Elkins versus Julian Erosa. Julian Erosa is a large favorite, as he should be, minus 340. There is almost no path to victory for Darren Elkins. Darren Elkins is 40 years old and he has less fighting experience than Julian Erosa. I like Juicy J, Julian Erosa. I watched the season of Ultimate Fighter that he was on, which is also the season that Artem Lobov was on, fun fact, and Ryan Hall. What a star-studded cast. But, yeah, I don't know. Darren Elkins, his whole claim to fame is that he can take a lot of damage. He's an old-ass man. He's already 40 years old, though. 40 years old in the featherweight division, that's not good math. Julian Erosa is definitely going to win. Might even get a nice little TKO, probably by sub though, most likely. Maybe sub set up by the hands, but yeah, I don't know. Moving on, Jim Miller versus Chase Hooper. Chase Hooper is the biggest favorite on the card, minus 900. There's a reason for that. Jim Miller, he has the most fights in the UFC. 41 years old as a lightweight, just as bad as Darren Elkins being 40 years old as a featherweight. Chase Hooper is really coming into his own. He just had a kid or whatever. He's on a little bit of a win streak, but also they're giving him fights to set up that win streak, so it's not as impressive as it might necessarily seem. But with that being said, Chase Hooper is getting it done. It would be quite a shock if Jim Miller was able to beat him. Moving on to the next one, Yan Xiaonan versus Virna Jandiroba. I'm actually picking Yan Xiaonan for this one. She's a slight underdog at plus 125. But I do believe her striking is going to be better than Virna's. I think she's going to be faster. I think Virna's probably a little bit stronger, probably a little bit more of a dog, and her grappling's probably better. But I don't know. I have a lot of faith in Yan Xiaonan. I think that she is, I don't want to say clearly the second best, but she's definitely up there. She is definitely an elite strawweight. And if it wasn't for Zhang Weili actually tearing through the division, she got pieced up by Zhang Weili, but let's be serious. You think Virna Jandiroba does any better against Zhang Weili? Probably not. Moving on, Dan Ige versus Sean Woodson. I'm gonna pick Dan Ige for this one also. Sean Woodson's good. He's 6'2" as a featherweight. He's got 78-inch reach to Dan Ige's 71-inch reach, so that's a 7-inch advantage for Sean Woodson. But Dan Ige is really good. For some reason, tell me why I thought Dan Ige was a tough fighter or a tough alumni, but he's definitely not. He was on the Contender Series like 10 years ago. But Season 1 of the Contender Series, Season 1, Week 3. But, yeah, I don't know. Dan Ige, he's lost a few, but only to the top level competition. Meanwhile, Sean Woodson got subbed by Julian Erosa like a couple years ago. So, yeah, I don't know. I think Dan Ige's striking is really good. I think he's got power. I think his boxing is just, I think he's going to beat Sean Woodson. I'm picking Dan Ige for sure, confidently. Moving on, start of the main card, Nikita Krylov versus Dominic Reyes. With this one, I don't know, man. I don't want to just do a million underdogs in a row, but I kind of think, no, fuck it, yeah, whatever. Nikita Krylov might win this one. Dominic Reyes, I do want Dominic Reyes to be back in the win column and to be back, just to be back. I want Dominic Reyes back, the tri-sport athlete or whatever. But, Nikita Krylov is good. Nikita Krylov is rangy. Nikita Krylov hasn't fought in a long time. Let me actually peep who all Krylov has fought against. He beat Ryan Spann. Lost to Paul Craig, that's a little crazy. Lost to Big Ank, that's a little crazy. Beat Johnny Walker. Lost to Teixeira. Lost to Blachowicz. Beat Fabio Maldonado, though. Yeah, debatable competition. But I'm going to go with the Ukrainian, Nikita Krylov, just because I don't want to keep picking underdogs. But this is probably the fight that I'm the least confident about on the card. I will say that. Moving on, Bryce Mitchell versus Gene Silva. This is the people's main event. Everybody's excited for this one. Bryce Mitchell is about to put the fear of Jesus Christ into this blasphemous heathen Gene Silva. I'm so sick of all the trash talk about Bryce Mitchell. Bryce Mitchell, first off, his record is a lie. I don't know why the UFC did this. Via my research for these videos, I have been able to find out, thankfully, that Bryce Mitchell isn't the only one. He's just the most famous one. But that 17-3, for a long time, he was whatever and and for some reason, the UFC just counted one of his tough fights as a loss, even though tough are two 5-minute round fights. They're amateur fights. They're not supposed to count on your record. And the wins don't count on your record. Only losses for some reason. But yeah, I don't know. I get it. Gene Silva's strong. Gene Silva's fast. Bryce Mitchell's striking isn't the best, right? Bryce Mitchell's grappling is going to be way better than Gene Silva's. And I'm not saying that he's going to get the sub, even though he very much can get the sub. But, I mean, look at, what he did to people like Edson Barbosa, and I know that that's not, necessarily the best version of Edson Barbosa. But even that, people don't do that to Edson Barbosa. I don't know, Bryce Mitchell is able to get the takedowns. He is able to get the control time. He did not the best, but decent. Excuse me. He did decent against Ilya. He short notice, literally off the couch against Josh Emmett. Anybody can get knocked out against Josh Emmett. I don't know. I'm picking Bryce Mitchell. I would defend this more and have a lot more fun, but I'm tired as fuck. And I just, whatever. But Bryce Mitchell's winning this one. This is the people's main event. I'm super duper excited for Bryce Mitchell versus Gene Silva. And fuck you, DeLord. If you saw that press conference, that line about I put a lot of dogs down in my day, that shit was cold as fuck. Bryce Mitchell's hard. Bryce Mitchell's amazing. We're all my homies are rooting for Bryce Mitchell. Nobody talks about this. He was low-key the first person to get custom shorts in the Venom era. People for some reason skip over that. But these camo boys. Well, first he got Reebok camo shorts, which was crazy, and then he got Venom camo shorts, right? And then now everybody and their brother gets custom shorts. But Bryce Mitchell, they had faith in him. Anyway, moving on. Yair Rodriguez versus Patricio Pitbull. Everybody's picking Pitbull, bro, off this Bellator hype trains or whatever. Yair's winning this fight. Patricio Pitbull is 37 years old, guys. Are we really doing this right now? Yair's striking is way better. Yair's grappling is not that bad. He literally subbed Brian Ortega. Bellator sucks. Patricio Pitbull, I mean, he's good. I don't even want to say he's not that good. He's good. But Yair probably gets the knockout, bounces back. Easy Yair dub. I don't really understand why this is the matchup, to be honest. I think they should have given Patricio Pitbull somebody a little bit farther down the rankings, but I think they don't. I think they're losing faith in Yair. I think the UFC does not ride the Yair train quite like they used to, which I'm not 100% sure why, but, Volk's goated. So, moving on, Michael Chandler versus Paddy Pimblett. Paddy Pimblett's winning this fight. Michael Chandler, 38 years old, literally hasn't beaten anybody in the UFC other than Tony Ferguson and Dan Hooker or whatever. He's garbage. Paddy Pimblett, I'll use the bedtime stat, subbed Bobby Green faster than Islam did. He's a scouser. He's not going to get knocked out. Definitely going to be able to sub him. He's going to have, I don't know. Here's what's going to happen. Everybody knows that I'm not spoiling this for anybody. I'm not giving anybody new news. But the script for a Michael Chandler fight is he comes out and he looks really good and then he's winning and he does something absolutely foolish, right? He's probably going to do something like try to dump Paddy on his head, like pick him up and slam him, some crazy, exhausting wrestling suplex. And then via the hectic scramble that ensues afterwards, Paddy is just going to get him and sub him. He's probably going to get on his back. If not his back, he's going to get a choke. Paddy's going to sub him. I very much see a Paddy win by sub for this fight. I don't really see a method to victory for Michael Chandler other than the knockout And let me just see real quick if Paddy Pimblett has been knocked out in his career. He has not. He has lost by decision a hole twice, and then he got subbed once. So, yeah, yeah. Paddy's got a chin. Paddy's only 30, and I don't know if you guys, people aren't talking about this. I haven't seen pictures of ballooned up Paddy in a while. You know what I mean? At least the past year and a half maybe. That tells me that Paddy's taking his career seriously, realized that he needs to level up and actually start, staying in fight shape and whatnot. I think Paddy's going to win this fight. I think Chandler's going to get forced out of the UFC finally, this fucking mole of a whatever, dirty ass fighter. I hate these cheaters. I hate how accepting we are of cheaters in the sport, but it's okay. Whatever, I'm not going to get into that right now. Moving on. Wow, their records are actually really similar, Volkanovski and Diego Lopes. I'm picking Diego Lopes. I know. I'm sorry. I want Volk to win, just like everybody else does. Me and him have the same first name, okay? We are both Alexander the Mediocre. But, yeah, I don't know. I want Volk to win. I want him to have his title. I want everything to go back to the way it was. But it's just not going to happen. He's 36 years old. He's probably over the hump. Diego Lopes is the new up-and-coming fighter. He's the only person to outreach Volkanovski in his UFC career, 72.5 inches to 71 inches, or 71.5 inches. I don't know, 5'11 to 5'6". Diego Lopes is way taller. I don't think he's going to get a sub, I don't think he's going to knock him out or anything, but I think he can edge out a 3-2 decision over Volkanovski, and this is going to be a very unbiased judging. It's in America, and neither of them are champions, so I think Diego can very much just scrape by a decision real quick, and he'll be able to get this done. But yeah, I don't know. Those are my picks. I know this wasn't the most in-depth video, and I know I'm like literally half asleep right now, but whatever. I'm trying to get readjusted to everything, and then hopefully the quality will pick back up. I just wanted to make sure I didn't skip out on this card because I already skipped last card, which thank God I did because I would have done really bad on picks. But I've been looking forward to this card for a while, even without the Carlos Prates fight. So I'm still hype about it. Still wanted to put my neck out there for the couple people like Bryce Mitchell. I wanted to be on the internet and say that I was picking Bryce Mitchell. I didn't want to hide from that. But yeah, those are my picks.